There it is, man. 8 o'clock, right on the dot. Let's go ahead and get this party started, man. First, before we get into anything, this is the one that we officially got an intro. So I love to show it off. So let's go ahead and make that intro happen. There it is. There it is. Each and every Thursday, 8 o'clock, man. We come to you live and direct with the Roundtable Podcast, man. Got some dope subjects on the docket today. I'm interested to see how you guys are gonna react as always. But before we get into that, man, let's go around the horn real quick. CC, get the people some words.
What's up, everybody? As y'all know, it's CC. I'm happy to be here. Can't wait to see what these topics is for today. Back to you, Theo.
There it is. Brief and short. Glad you're happy to be here. Hey, Matt, give the people a little bit longer version of some words.
Yeah, man, they already know what to do, man. Your boy MAC, co-founder Brainstorm Productions, DUG Entertainment, aka Mr. Small Things to a Giant. Uh, Definitely an advocate of picking these topics up and putting them down. So let's do that.
Yeah, man. I'm interested to see how you gonna weigh in on some of these things. But sinister, sinister. You good on the audio now, brother? Talk to the people.
What's good, everybody? This is your boy Sinister. Just sending out positive vibes to everybody. God is good all the time. And everybody be blessed. And also, quick plug, Wages of Sin coming soon, web series that putting out. Theo helped me put it together too. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, man. Wages of Sin is bubbling into a neighborhood near you, coming very, very, very soon. Chick That Hustles was up next, so get the people intro.
What's good, everybody? It's your girl, a chick that hustles. You know the AKAs are coming next, AKA Chase Banks, AKA Blockchain Bay. And now I can officially add AKA founder and CEO of the Bridge Athletic Scholars Program. I am super excited to be here tonight. And I'm looking forward to chomping down on some of these topics that we got. One in particular has got me already in my boxing mode. So let's go.
There it is. There it is. Congrats, man. Congrats. Give us your 15-second elevator pitch on the new program.
Yeah. Okay, so the Bridge Athletic Scholars Program is a college access program for student athletes, 8th grade to 12th grade. We will be working with kids, trying to make sure that they meet the requirements to be NCAA eligible so that they can be recruited for the sport that they choose at the college that they choose.
Good stuff. How they get in contact with the program?
Right now, just through IG at the Bridge ASP. Actually, we're on Twitter and on Facebook under the same name, the Bridge ASP. All of those links have contacts.
There it is, the Bridge ASP, man. Y'all go support that. Shade Queen in the building, man. Talk to the people.
Hello, it's your girl from the heart of Georgia, Shade Queen, here to throw some shade and some perspective on these topics. So thankful to be here with my family at Roundtable, and I'm ready to get into these topics and talk about everything and give you my perspective. You know, I love it, so it's very easy for me.
Yeah, man. We respect all sides of the table over here at the round table, man. So we want everybody to definitely weigh in. But before we get to our first topic, man, let's take a couple comments real quick. Doris Falk said, "Hey, babies. Hey, mama. Hey, just like Doris, man, she put her information in there so that we can see who we're talking to. Go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Put your information in. Even if you've been here previously, man, sometimes you have to double back and kind of, reset it and put it in again. Because we do have a comment from Facebook user who I think we know who that is. Shout out to CC. Said, here's the link to StreamYard if anybody wants to participate in the chat. So one thing you guys, let me break that down real quick. One thing you guys are going to see going forward is we want to include you, the viewer. So if you ever catch our live stream going through the Roundtable Music Facebook group, if you catch us on YouTube going through the iModel Booth Games page or the Where It Begins magazine page, we want to share this link out because different parts of our platforms, if you want to be a part of it, whether on camera or if you just want audio and be off camera with it, we want to invite you to come in and participate. So definitely, if you see that link, man, feel free to pop up in the back. We'll bring you on screen and we'll get you weighed in on some things. Maybe it's voting on our Wednesday show. Maybe it's talking about one of these celebrity albums we're going to do this coming up Sunday on a music review. Or maybe today, one of these topics kind of weigh on your heart and you want to let us know what's on your mind. So either way, man, click the link, tap in with us. We here to rock with you. Take another comment real quick. Nika Max said, hey, y'all. Hey, Nika.
Hey.
Appreciate. So listen, man, we jam-packed today. The longest video, I think we're going to save that one to last because it's about 9 minutes. And I don't want to leave any part out, but I understand if we don't make it because of time. And a lot of the meat is actually in the first to middle part of it. So with that being said, we already know what's going to be last. Let's go into a topic that was actually brought to us this week by Matt that he wanted to talk about. So this topic is a subject that's getting a little buzz right now, man. Arizona just instituted a law talking about you have to be 8 feet away and able to record police interactions. And I think we all realize what type of social impact that is once the police start policing more so how we can come and interact with them. So we're going to dive into this and get some opinions on it. But like always, man, let's just go ahead and start the video and then we're going to jump back into it.
People in Arizona may have to think twice before pulling out a cell phone to record the police. A new state law now makes it illegal to record an officer within 8 feet. NBC News reporter Alicia Fieldstad is looking into this for us. So, Alicia, what's the reasoning behind this law and what are the possible penalties for violating it?
Hi, Aaron. Thank you for having me. Representative John Kavanaugh, the Republican who sponsored the bill, said he introduced the law after officers in Tucson expressed concerns about people getting too close to them as they may be trying to make an arrest. He said people who might want to videotape from 1 or 2 feet away are presenting a danger to the officers and to themselves. He also said people who video could distract an officer, leading to a suspect escaping or possibly assaulting the officer. Violating the law is a misdemeanor, which can come with fines or even up to 30 days in jail.
Let me stop it right there before this gets off of the screen because I want to make sure we point this out. So it makes it illegal to record the police closer than 8 feet when they are questioning a suspicious person, conducting an arrest, issuing a summons, enforcing the law, handling an emotionally disturbed person is what it's listed out. Also, in some further research, not sure if it's in this video or not. Honestly, I watched a few different ones. But it also makes it illegal for you to record the police to certain degrees if you're in the middle of the actual involvement with the police, whether you're being arrested or whether or not you're actually at that time being put in handcuffs. So weigh in with me, man. What are you guys feeling about this law?
I'm not shocked.
Oh,
Go ahead.
No, I'll let her speak.
Oh, I was just going to say
you can speak. You go.
Of the popo. They knew that loophole existed. If you are the person who is being detained, questioned, attacked, you're within 8 feet of them. You have to be within 8 feet of them. And so now all they have to say is it is illegal for you to record, period. It doesn't matter if you're a bystander or not, right? And although if you're a bystander, 8 feet is presumably enough space for you to get the footage that you need, but it's not about the bystander. It's about the person who's being offended and they just trying to be slick.
I got it. Go ahead, Senator.
I remember one of my favorite rap songs in history is a Public Enemy song called By the Time I Get to Arizona. It's this been going on with Arizona forever. I remember as a little kid that they didn't even celebrate Martin Luther King's holiday. They've been very public with their racism. And I know they probably me seeing this, I'm wondering, like, people of color should be very worried, because what are they up to? Why would they feel that they need to enforce a law of them being watched? Because the police has to be policed too.
Yeah.
So I expect more violence from the police side moving forward, just based on the history of Arizona, and also what other states are going to try to bring this law.
That's my point. I think that's the thing that troubles me and exhausts me when it comes to police reform, because I have several friends that are in law enforcement. So I'm not about to sit up here and say that I don't like law enforcement. That's silly. And to all the people who are saying Blue Lives Matter and all that kind of stuff, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the transparency of it all. The fact that you don't want people to show you doing your job. That brings me pause. What do you have going on when you're arresting someone that you don't want them to see or to hear? You see, so I'm always the person who, I don't have a problem with you coming up with policies that are going to keep these people safe, because it is a high risk job, right? But when you start creating certain policies that it almost looks like you're trying to hide something, specifically at this time, where every week or every day, if you really took the time to do it, you can see gross abuse of power from people who are wearing police outfits. So it's or uniform, shall I say, not outfits. So it's frustrating to me, and with everything that's going on with Roe versus Wade, with all the things that are going on, I'm getting a little nervous.
I got you.
Some in the mix.
All right. So hold on, guys. I know you guys want to jump back in on this. Let's get back into the video, and then we're gonna pop back out and get a couple more opinions on this. All right.
See, is there any expectation that this new law is going to be challenged, that it could end up in court?
Absolutely. When the law was introduced as a bill, the National Press Photographers Association sent a letter to Kavanaugh arguing that it would violate both the free speech and press clauses of the First Amendment. They also said the law would violate the, quote, clearly established right to photograph and record police officers performing their official duties in a public place. Kavanaugh did make some concessions to the bill, like allowing people who are stopped in a vehicle to record a police officer. He also lowered the buffer zone from 15 to 8 feet and added that an individual who is having an encounter with a police officer can film them as long as they are not being arrested or handcuffed. But even with those concessions, there's a good chance this law, which is set to go into effect in September, will be challenged based on that First Amendment argument.
All right. NBC's Alicia Fieldstead. Alicia, we appreciate your time today. Thanks.
So they're going to move forward, right? And this sounds like something that's going to get elevated probably in the court system. A lot of people are going to be involved on both sides to kind of see where this goes. But I cut you guys off with the video. I think Chick That Hustle and possibly Mac wanted to jump in here on this. Y'all came off mute. Go ahead and say what y'all going to say there. Go ahead and Chick That Hustles.
I genuinely don't recall what I was going to say. I'm sorry.
It's all good. Get in here, Mac. Get in there, Mac.
So I'll start it off like this, right? So we all know the well-known cases that done happened in America. But I'll throw out a couple names that you might not know. Philip White, unarmed black man, caught, the two bystanders caught the camera footage of him being handcuffed after being knocked unconscious by the police, and then let the canine dog attack him to the point where they had to take him to the hospital and was pronounced dead at that point. Kianga Mwamba, she stopped at a red light, right? She's driving down the street, stopped at a red light. She witnessed police beating another man, right? When they noticed that she had the camera out, they grabbed her, forced her out the car, She spent the night in jail. When she got out that next morning, all the footage that she recorded was gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So what we talking about is violating our First Amendment right. So for the people that don't know that, some of that entails freedom of speech, the freedom of press, freedom of assembly, and the right to petition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the biggest point right here is that freedom of press. So what is freedom of press that if people don't know? Freedom of press is the fundamental principle of that communication and expression through various media, including print and electronic media, should
Mm-hmm.
be a right to be exercised freely. That's what they're trying to take away. Now we got 1,052 people shot and killed by the police last year. African Americans make up 13% of the US population.
Mm-hmm.
But but 40 per million people in the US are African Americans shot and killed.
Mm.
28 per million people are shot and killed in the US. 16% per million are shot and killed in the US. That's white.
Mm.
So my thing is we need all those eyes on it, man, so we can hold these people accountable.
No, I agree. I agree. I think at the end of the day, man, this is one of those problems that is just like all the other problems, right? We talk about it, we get outraged. We don't have enough people that are in position and motivated to get together to make a change. Why everybody cares about it, why everybody worries about what it's going to do to our sons and daughters or even us. I don't see people out there rallying for it. I don't see people registering people to vote for this. We only get galvanized by the big things. We only come out to vote for Trump. So these things definitely are things that make it into our local communities and affect our daily lives way more than the big sensational stories that we all kind of get behind. So what do we do about this, man? If we all agree that this is concerning, what do we do?
Okay,
So,
this is you.
go
I'll
ahead,
say
Senator.
this
I
quick.
went first the last time. You go first.
I say this is a serious cause for concern because these cops are not just utilizing hostility or police brutality, as we used to call it. They are flat out killing folks, male and female. And if I mean, like, this is a cause for emergency. Now, me, recently, I mean, every single day, I'm seeing a new video. They're going younger on our peoples. You see what I'm saying? Like, they borderline kill. Trayvon Martin was years ago, but who's to say there's not no incidents that we don't know of? That's just the famous incidents. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the solution to it, not everybody's going to agree with this, but I think the only solution is you got to fight fire with fire or else it's not going to stop. They look like they're not stopping. It's been going on hundreds of years. My sister, my daughters and stuff, I hope they're not going to be grandmothers talking about police brutality, hoping it's going to stop.
Well, I think as long as you have the haves and the have-nots, there's going to be some level of policing. And in our life, that's how it always will be. And there will always be a minority that will be picked on. Um, I do want to say, though, I think it was nicely packaged that it was for the safety of the officers.
Mm-hmm.
I think the rhetoric sometimes is what gets me, because in a lot of these cases, not all, but in a lot of these cases, the average person doesn't really just necessarily have a gun on them, but the officers do all of the time. So
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about the safety of these people, but these are not just regular folks. It's not just like me and you. These are people who are supposed to be trained to be able to handle these types of situations. However, when this rhetoric comes about, it's almost like they're just regular people who just are just like they're neighborhood watch. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So you're saying, oh, hey, I need you to be at least 8 feet for my safety because everything here is good. We're just here to talk. And we know that that's not always the case. But I don't have issues against the police. I'm not trying to bash the police, but this is alarming, and I'm hoping that it's not going to be something that's rolled into other states. It probably is, or that it becomes, like you said earlier, Theo, romanticized as just one of these little, I guess, talking points that people are excited about tomorrow, and then in a month it goes away.
Yeah.
So
No, it's definitely one of those things that if we, meaning the various communities around here, don't pay attention to it, then it will end up hitting home for us. It will quickly make it to Georgia, as they are already underway in making this to turn back into a red state. Go ahead and check that hustles.
So Shay Queen, you so sweet talking about you not trying to bash the police.
Well, no, I'm not, because I mean, I'm not.
No, but I am.
I'm not. Okay, that's fair, and that's fair. That if you want to do that, that's fair.
Yes, no, that's why I say you sweet. I'm not, because number one, you chose that profession. You've been trained to handle the profession, and there really are already laws in place to help them keep themselves protected, but they don't even follow them. There are rules and policies in place that they could already follow themselves to keep themselves safe, but they don't. They consistently try to apply more pressure to citizens for the people who are supposed to do the protecting to be protected. That's so confusing. And so I don't feel, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I don't feel sympathy for them. I don't. And that may be because I don't have any friends or family that are in law enforcement, and probably has a lot to do with my own personal experience with them. Cause back in the day, did not play a game with those people. Okay. But, and so when I hear, Theo, you say things like, there are not people who are willing to work, or you don't see it. You don't see that there are still factions of people who are tirelessly working day and night, but that is because the media is somewhat still very much controlled by politics.
I agree.
And so
Let me say this real quick. Check that hustles.
no,
I agree 100% with what you're saying, but also these are not the things that, or the narratives we push in our neighborhoods. We push on our social media. We put it up one time just because we see everybody else put it up, and then once they stop, guess what happens?
That in general, I would say that is true. In general, I would say that is true, but then specifically, there are people who are still at the grassroots level doing their thing, and it's unfortunate that they a lot of times get shut down by media. And there was another point that I was going to make that was in response to something that Sinister said, but it's one of them.
You want to know another interesting thing? This might not seem related, but they did they did something where it was the top two places inflation raised in the country. Arizona was number one, with Georgia right behind it in terms of everything getting expensive. That's going to have an effect on crime, if that makes sense. Usually when there's economic issues, crime comes into it. And I know it's like they're trying to test our intelligence. They're trying to cover their own self for the hostility they're about to show in the streets, to show that we got the power, we got the authority, because nobody can check them. Who's going to, it's basically saying we don't want you checking us.
But also they are slowly chipping away at what's supposed to be the foundation, the core of our nation, our civil rights. I mean, it seems like every week or every month I'm hearing about a new bill that's being passed that's in direct contradiction with the Lord. I was about to say the 10 Commandments with the Constitution, though. And it's so obvious. But what's sad is that there are not enough of us who are willing to fight the good fight, for lack of better words, to make them stop or to make it change. But one thing I do know is America is, in comparison to all the other great nations, still very young. And every great nation has had rebellions of their time that brought the country to its knees and had to be rebuilt. And I'm not, I will say I don't want to be here for it, but it's coming at some point. It's going to happen here. We have not been around long enough for it not to happen. History repeats itself for a reason. So it's just a matter of time. People are going to get tired.
Hold on, especially.
when the people who think that they're in power realize that they no longer have rights, then it's really going to be some bucking going on.
Well, so let me say this. I agree, right? If you do study history, you do realize that there's a rise, excuse me, and fall to every dynasty. And a lot of it is kind of the undoing that comes internally or someone else invades them. So I hope it's not the second one, right? I hope we don't get invaded one day. But that first one that you mentioned is what I'm kind of, my heart is not going out to. And I'm not saying from a standpoint of putting effort behind it, or I'm not in love with the romanticizing the idea of it. What I'm saying is I think that the Jim Crow laws are real. I think that they have really affected us as a society and as a people up until this day, to the point where we don't get along enough to be on one accord. If we just all came together, like how many times do you guys see on social media? And I haven't seen it a lot during quarantine period, but before that, right? How often do you see, hey, this week we're gonna support black businesses, and then you look up and ask around and like nobody's really supported a black business, right? Like we try to make it a special week to do that. We should make it all the time that. And we are the only group, meaning African Americans, that is frowned upon for you to say something is pro-black, right? If we say we want to protect our neighborhoods, it automatically offends everyone else. But if you look throughout our nation, you have pockets where all these other ethnic groups have built their strongholds and built their policies and have a way of doing things because they are on one accord and nobody ever questions them. You don't go into Chinatown doing certain things, trying to put black businesses, trying to go outside of what they do. And yet we own nothing in our neighborhoods. So I think this is another part of that trickle down effect of kind of keeping us oppressed in certain ways. But my biggest concern and takeaway is this: you can't record them if you're in an interaction with them. If you pay attention to it, when someone gets killed, 9 times out of 10, they're not shooting two people. It's always a couple officers versus one type of scenario. So now you effectively make this illegal for any footage that person has to defend themselves, if they can come up with some footage. But go ahead, Shay Queen.
Well, I don't want to piss off the panel, right? With all my cupcakes and rainbows. But I will say that I think how it's going to affect us at a local level is that we do have to have law enforcement. We know that. And the trust in the transparency and the relationship of the law enforcement and with their community, I really feel like they've got to start working harder to get to know their people and not feel like when they pull up, they got to pull out a gun. I don't think that guns and tasers and batons are always needed. On our point, if they have decided to take the job, they're going to have to get coached on dealing with people with mental illness, because we know that mental illness is something that is affecting a lot of people. And there are a lot of mentally ill people who are getting beat, like Mac and them were saying. They're not always picking up robbers and rapists and thieves. Some of these things are simple little crimes, so I just hope that, and it's not going to be in our lifetime, but in my heart, I'm just hoping that we can get to a point where you have children that are not listening to the bad experiences that their parents have had with the police and hating the police when they grow up, because that used to happen a lot when I was coming up. I go to a certain neighborhood and a police officer would drive by and they would start running. It was a matter of what they had seen, because the people in the neighborhood that they were in, they had seen such negative interaction. I don't know how trauma. I don't know how you bring. I don't know how you fix that, but I just, in my heart, I wish that there was a better way for us to have that connection, because I just think that, like Natifa said, there's going to be a lot of revolution, revolt, and I'm not sure that that's always the best way. Revolution. I'm not sure that's always the best way, but everybody's got to do what they got to do to fight the power, I guess.
let me clarify. When I say revolution, that I support the revolution, I don't mean January 6th. I don't mean storming the Capitol. I don't mean trying to put people in danger. There needs to be a mentality revolution amongst our people. And once we realize that again, those things that I said earlier, our community is the only community that doesn't come together in a lot of respects to push our agenda. We are the only community, if you think about it, without an actual agenda and a plan.
No, you're
Every
right. I was
every other community.
I was speaking
Yeah.
on Latifah's
Oh yeah.
revolution.
No. And part of me does support that aspect of it as well, because you have to have all, you have to have a combination of the people to come together. So whether we're talking about those people who actually physically pull out guns, I would not like it to be there, right? But you need the support of that segment of the community as well, is more so of my point.
Martin would not have accomplished as much as he did without the presence of a Malcolm. There
Yeah.
has to be a threat to their
To shake it
danger, to
up.
their physical, yeah, in order for them to really take us seriously.
Uh-oh.
But I will say, in agreement with you, that not that Jim Crow necessarily affected us, but I really feel like they killed off a lot of the revolutionary DNA. Like when
Correct.
the buck slaves, the ones who was really willing to do their thing, they killed a lot of that DNA off, and that's why we left with a whole lot of simps. And
Well,
I hate to say that. I'm not saying that all of us are simps, but there are a lot more simps than there are people who are willing to stand up and fight for what they know is right, and that's unfortunate.
let me say it differently. I think they killed off a lot of our DNA in general, right? I don't think they killed off that spirit that's built within our DNA, because I think we all have it. I think it's misguided, because it's not proper for you to go out and be pro-black, be militant, be any of these things in today's society, right? We have an assimilation culture where if you don't assimilate into it and do what the prevailing class wants you to do, then you're looked at as an outsider. And because you are an outsider, and we as a people, and when I say this, y'all gonna get pissed off, we as a people live our lives like we're trying to seek approval as opposed to getting things done for us. And when you realize that mind state means that you conform to other people's agendas, then you realize why laws get passed all the time that protect every other class, every other ethnic group, every other branch of being a citizen. And yet there is never a law that comes back and really puts anything positive in our neighborhood. Everything is put off of our backs, and it is made that way. And that's why I say Jim Crow, Willie Lynch is real, because that was the intent behind those. And although all those practices people will say on surface value have gone away, we still have the same effects today. Legally, the same type of rules that are put in place to govern us are still having the same actions.
Well, Jim Crow and Willie Lynch is built on violence. So I don't mean to get biblical, but here's what I feel. What would Jesus do? Jesus is God. Let's go into the Old Testament. When Pharaoh was head of that slavery going on in Egypt, Moses warned them, showed 10 plagues. Pharaoh didn't budge. What did God finally do to make Pharaoh budge and say, I give up? He had to get rid of the first. He had to get rid of the firstborn, meaning he had to get so violent to finally tell you, like, yo, you got to stop this. And I feel that's the same thing that needs to be done. People got to start fighting back, even if this means more hostility. It don't seem like they applying pressure. Don't seem like they backing off.
So
we need law enforcement, but there's more people abusing their power than using their power. So I feel like those people who's abusing the power, they need to be punished. Plain and simple.
So research and I'm not talking to you directly, Sinister. I know you've done a lot of this research. Research how law enforcement came about. Research how the prison system came about, and you will see a lot of links back to slavery and back to from overseer to officer. And a lot of those same policies and tactics and structure still hold true today. So I challenge each and one of you guys to go out and do your own research, man. Get educated on these things. Get involved in your local community. Because as the chick that hustle said earlier, there are a lot of people doing a lot of good work out there, but because they don't have the big breasts and twerking and doing this and that, they don't get the attention. They don't get the funds. They don't get the donations. And we all know if you don't have the donations and the manpower, it's very hard to move a whole mountain. And we got a mountain to move.
And let's mentor our babies so we can keep them out of these jails. I'm
Yep.
big on that. I'm serious.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. So somebody pointed out earlier the narrative, right? That we're regular people, and I think it was you, Shade Queen, that that the police are regular people, as opposed to us being regular people type of scenario, right? I think that you said the police are regular. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know who said it, but you guys said the police were regular people, but we're normalizing the rules to protect those people like they're not trained for the situation. Maybe that was a chick that hustles.
It was something like that. She said they act like the police are regular.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. They act
Yeah.
like it. I wasn't saying they are. I was
No,
saying,
I get it.
Okay,
I get it. But my point that I was trying to make is that damn, you done made me forget the point I was trying to make. No, I got it back. So the point I was trying to make is this, right? That's normalizing the police as regular people, right? What you also have to realize is that the other side of the coin is they have normalized black people as criminals to a certain extent. There are not any black people that you run into these days that you are just floored if they've had no interaction with the penal system, if they've had no interaction with the legal system. There's black people who go to jail for the simplest things all the time based off of our mandatory minimums, based off our laws, based off of our plea agreements with it, which seems to be the most popular thing to use within our legal system. And all that goes back to education. So if you ask me, how do we get out of this? You're right. We have to take care of the babies. We have to start, raising them the right way or continue raising them the right way. But it really comes back down to, as a people, until we prioritize education and we break some of those generational stigmas, the rest of the world is comfortable looking at the uneducated criminals go to jail and get beat and get shot on TV all the time.
I love
Let me
that
tell you.
thought process, but
Let me.
we know that they attack us and arrest us when we are just minding our damn business. They really do. So you can
You're
be as
right.
educated as you want to be. You can be as straight path walker as you want to be. All of the good stuff, and still, like my nephew was literally taking a jog on prom day and got laid down by the police, minding his own business. So yeah, we do need to do that just because that's what our
Hold on,
community
sister.
needs. Just because that's what our community needs, but ultimately that whole policing system has to be, I think, chopped
Overhauled.
down to the bottom and rebuilt if at all possible. They got to figure out another way because
So
baby,
hold on, Shay, hold on. So let me respond to that. So here's why I say education is going to be the key to that. Sometimes we have people who put themselves in situations, right? And we live life so opposed to law enforcement that we don't know legally what we are really being harassed over and what not. You get what I'm saying? So I say from an educational standpoint, because you need to be educated when you're in those situations of what the laws actually are and are not. And I also say educationally, because the people that are going to change that are not going to be the people with the guns. Again, I'm not supporting everybody bring a gun in, and I'm not saying put your guns away at the same time. What I am saying is the people who are going to make those change are going to be the people who are involved in the process and in the system. And if you can't go in and argue this in the Supreme Court, then how do you expect it really to change? But go ahead, guys. I cut a couple of you guys off for a second.
A lot people got to understand these Jim Crow. I call it these Jim Crow establishments, which is clear in the United States government. They profit off of so many black men going to prison. Them rural towns, that's their biggest economy, is locking black men up. Our main purpose in the United States originally for black folks was for the black man to work, was to pick cotton. It was never meant for the black man to be in a position of wealth and power. Us being free was not, you know what I'm saying? You see what we went through in the civil rights era. So us being on a level that's successful just kind of started in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. But these institutions are still around and still locking. Like you said, most brothers, whether they're into good or bad, we all know once we leave that house, there's always that risk of a police officer popping out of nowhere and just messing with us, no matter how innocent we are. We always have that. We always have that in the back of our minds, no matter how much we're not into trouble. But on the flip side, crime pays for the government because they're locking us up at record numbers.
Big. Yeah, no, there's billions and billions and billions of dollars that go through the federal and the state level correction facilities. So yeah, you got something on this, Shade Queen, to close us out? Look like you was signal.
I hear everyone, but I'm still gonna be positive. But I think that we're gonna continue to work, and we're gonna make this work. That's why we have this. We're gonna make this work. That's
you gotta stay positive, right? Once everybody gives up hope, people get into desperation. And I'm not saying that a desperate mentality, I think, is what it's gonna take before we all get there and get on the same page. It's gonna take something drastic for us all to come together. Because it's been so ingrained and taught to us. I don't believe it's physically inside your DNA, but I believe a lot of things are learned behaviors and passed down behaviors. And I think to fear and reject leaders, to fear and reject law enforcement, those are things that are passed down to us in learned behaviors because of, like you're saying, the people ran just because they came into the neighborhood and they were kids. That's usually, 9 times out of 10, not because they directly been through it, but they saw what happened to their brothers and their cousins and their friends. So yeah, that's a big thing, man. But let's close out this topic, man. We can go on and on and on all day when it comes to it seems like our interaction with the police and the changing laws that are coming with that. So again, look forward to a lot more laws changing. As everybody's kind of said, that heat is going to continue to roll. But at the same time, people need to step up and do their part, man, so we can push some of this back and get it back right. But let's go ahead and switch topics, man. Let's go into a video that really made a lot of headlines recently with Thur8p. She is a senator from Rhode Island. So I'm going to play a video here. It's a really quick video. It has it on loop. And you guys probably have seen this before. But let's go ahead.
Any relation?
Hey, don't put that on me. I'm going to talk to you about how I feel about her in a second. But let's go ahead and play this video real quick.
Vote Senator Mack. Vote Senator Mack.
All right, it's on a little bit of a loop. We don't have to keep looking at her ass, and she will not stop, will she? So if you guys are not familiar, if you have not seen that video, that is Thur8p. She is a senator, Democrat senator, excuse me, trying to get reelected for her second term out of the Providence state of Rhode Island. She went viral for twerking, and then has since had a lot of comments in the media. And said she received a lot of flack for that, a lot of pushback, a lot of people talking about her body type, a lot of people using racist comments towards her. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about this. But first, I just kind of want to know, what do you guys think about this video?
Okay. I saw it before it came out that she was a senator. It just was on my timeline, and I was like, is this really what we doing for votes now?
Mm-hmm. We are.
Ma'am, get your life together. Where's your platform? Where are your points of liberty? Like, what are you doing?
Okay. As you see my name, it says Sinister 401. That's the area code of Rhode Island. The water's different over there. The water is different over there. I travel to many cities. I want y'all to understand. Y'all gonna give your opinions. I am telling you, The average person from Rhode Island is freaking crazy. I can't cuss on here. They are crazy. She's doing that because she's going off the history of Rhode Island. Our governors go to prison. Our mayors are connected with all corrupt people. There's nothing positive in Rhode Island. Nothing. There is nothing positive. Case in point, this exhibit on this topic. There's never going to be anything positive coming from the 401. A lot of my behavior, you be like, what's up with him? Look at what raised me. Our senator is twerking for votes and she might win.
She already won.
She represents our people. What is she doing? She represents the Rhode Island chicks. To order it to any Rhode Island chicks that ever see this, she is no different from y'all. So that's why it's not a big deal. They're saying in Rhode Island, they're like, oh, shoot, I said it went viral. It's a badge of honor.
I will say, Sin, I love you, and I love your passion. And if all the Rhode Islanders were like you, I would definitely invite them over to the cookout. But
no, you wouldn't. No, you
Yes,
wouldn't.
I would. You come.
I wouldn't invite them. I'll tell them to stay there. No, they don't need to be in there. They'll probably take something.
But here's my thought process when I saw it, okay? My first thought was, I gave her the benefit of the doubt because I didn't read the article. I thought, oh, maybe she was out kicking it with her friends and somebody who was 8 feet or closer just happened to videotape it, right? But then when she came back and I looked at her talking about it, she felt it was a sense of empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taken aback. Okay, so y'all know I am more conservative than most people. Y'all know I clutch my pearls and I'm like, oh, but for me, I think that there is a time and a place for everything. And I do think that there's a certain code of conduct and standard that people should carry in a way that people should carry themselves in certain jobs. I think that she felt because she's a woman, she's being further scrutinized. I think she was saying that people were being racist and misogynistic if they did not agree with the way that she was acting. But I don't think that that's fair. I don't think that you can wave that flag in this particular situation, especially when after you got done pee-popping on a handstand, you said, vote for me. I don't think that that's proper. And I would not want that to be representative of me as a woman of color. And who's a lawmaker. I don't think that's appropriate. I also didn't find it appropriate for former President Trump when they came out with tapes of him saying that he could grab women by their genitalia. I didn't like that. I didn't like Sarah Palin in her bikini with a gun. I didn't like that, However, those situations were private. She did this on purpose. Mm-hmm. Y'all see the difference?
She started TikTok just to put this out towards her campaign.
That's what kind of threw me back. So as a woman and being a feminist, and I always tell y'all that I'm always intent on what are you really trying to do? What was the goal? And if the goal was for her to say, oh, this is me representing my queer, Black, beautiful self, I just didn't, it fell a little flat for me, just personally. That's me personally.
Hold on. I got a couple opinions I'm gonna give before we get into the second part of the video. But Matt, get in here on this, man. What did you think? I know this came across your timeline a lot.
Yeah, man, definitely. So what I'm looking at is Shawty won the Senate seat in 2020.
Yep.
She beat out Harold Meltz, who've been holding that chair since 1984. Mm-hmm. And she won it by winning over the younger, more socially liberal voters, right?
Yeah. I don't, a little bit liberal.
A little bit, yeah. So, but my thing is though, so we got overall in history in the U.S. Senate, we only had 11 Black senators out of 232 years. You know what I'm saying? If we talking about the Supreme Court, we only got 2 Black people. That's Thurgood Marshall and Clarence Thomas. Now, when we talking about, now
Said that don't count.
But right, yeah, especially Clarence.
Clarence is over it now. So get ready.
Yeah, but so when we talking about female black, no, female senators, period. It's only been 58 since 1922. We got 24 right now. You know what I'm saying? So her twerking on the handstand was impressive. You know, she was.
You liked it?
Fair enough. She did
You
it
liked
well.
it?
Fair enough. She did it well. Now we're not
She
gonna take that from her. We're not gonna take that from Miss
she
Mac.
was right. She was raised in Georgia and South Carolina, and you know how we like to get like how we like to party down there. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the overall look though, when it comes to African Americans and especially females, she set us back a little bit.
I got
Also,
you.
I it seems like that's all you see nowadays. I figured the way her mind state is, that's what you see everywhere. Look at Lizzo running into the Lakers with her butt cheeks. Everything that Lizzo does, majority of her career, showing her butt cheeks. Every video you see every day is girls just twerking anywhere. I'm not judging or nothing. I'm just saying she's probably looking at it. So what is the
I
big
am.
deal? I'm not saying she was right. I'm just saying I'm looking at it. Maybe that's why she figured like this is going to be funny because twerking's acceptable. It seems like Sierra just dropped something where she's twerking. It's not even based on a dancing. She used to do stuff with dancing now. For the past couple years, everything's focused on twerking. Majority of these artists, they will try to dress sexy, but now you'll see them every performance twerking. Everything's twerk, twerk, twerk. And you see now, it's done reached out into the government.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. She's trying to be popular. I'm not condoning it. And yeah, it set us back because now look at how bad it's got. Our senators are twerking with the butt cheeks out.
Hold on, real quick. Let's take a comment. First of all, Nika said you guys forgot one.
She's
And
talking about our newest yes, our newest sister who got added. Yes,
yeah,
I got you.
yeah. But she also said how was it different from a Madonna or Britney Spears?
Good point.
I was no. Well, let me say this. First of all, man, if and I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to sit here and tell you guys, right? There's no tooth fairy. Santa Claus don't really come to your house. Your mom and daddy bought that. But if you still believe that people are in government because of integrity and doing the right thing, then you are mistaken. I'm not saying because she's twerking that puts her in this category. But what I am saying is in a field where you literally can't trust what they're doing, when people do things like this, you can kind of see why people want to talk about it. You can see why it opens up those doors of skepticism into her career based off of what she did for her personal life because she brought this to us. So I'll say that's how it's different. They get paid for entertainment. She gets paid to be a senator, but yet she's trying to become a senator all over again by doing this entertainment. So you blur the lines with that. Go ahead, Shade Queen.
What she said specifically that stood out to me goes back to a conversation that you and I want to say a reoccurring conversation when it specifically comes to feminism and women empowerment. And I always tell you that I really feel like people take that and they just run with it. And it's like anything that I do is going to represent empowerment. And I don't necessarily believe that. But what she said was, I've struggled with the idea.
Oh, well, hold on. Let's, before you get into the feedback of what she actually said, we got another part 2 of the video where she's going to respond to it. But just for a quick point of clarity, Nika was saying my comment was geared towards the Lizzo statement. I guess with the butt cheeks hanging out, how is that different from Madonna or Britney Spears? It's not. That's entertainment. Lizzo gets picked on because she's a larger African American woman, and sometimes that's not always fair. She carries herself with a lot of confidence, and that does bother and offend some people. I'm not a fan necessarily, but I respect her for doing what she do. She carries the torch.
let me clarify. I'm not saying none of them people who I was saying was twerking is wrong. I'm just saying now it's popular it's a popular thing to do. And so that's why I'm figuring like maybe she figured I could get away with doing that for votes because it's so popular. Like we see this going on in the like it was an ET story when Lizzo was doing the on the court side and stuff. It wasn't even on a stage and you see people randomly. Okay.
Let's keep it on this though. I don't want to go down the Lizzo rabbit hole. Let's keep it in relation to Tierra Mack. So before I play this video, let me point out a couple facts. The person that you heard on that video saying that ass or the ass or whatever she was saying, that's her partner, who, if you haven't figured out by now, she is a member of the LGBTQ, and if I leave out some letters, please don't come for me, community, and her partner is a white woman. So that's actually the voice that you hear on that. One of the reasons why this is disturbing to me is because she got hyped up to come about it at a different way, and I get it, right? You want to do whatever you feel you got to do to get yourself out there, but I almost feel like you got to take the criticism that comes with it because you put yourself out in that way, and I wonder how much was solely her idea versus being hyped up, because we all know that if you're in a committed relationship, it's hard to make those big decisions or moves a lot of times if you don't have the support of that person that's back at home, and in some cases that person is the person that hypes you up to do it as well. So she clearly was the one that took this video, and the video ended up out there for general consumption. So I'm wondering how much she actually had to do with that. But let's get into, I'm sorry, did somebody have a quick comment before we get into the second part where she's actually responding to this video? No?
I did, but I'll wait. I want to see what she says.
Okay. Let's see what she says. Tierra Mack, Twerk Senator, Part 2.
I am not going to apologize for being myself and for living a joyful life and for being unapologetically myself in every instance and enjoying a beautiful day off. I am not going to apologize for showing exactly and telling exactly who I am every single step of the way of my campaign. For the folks who voted for me, they know that Tierra Mack is a silly, authentic, and sometimes bold leader. I will not apologize for being who I am. I will not apologize for fiercely leading my community with a new and fresh voice and mobilizing more people to stand up for their rights alongside me. I will not apologize.
Let me stop for a really quick second, because part of what she's saying is that she's not apologizing for being who she is, her own true, authentic self, and representing her community. So that's the part I want to point out as we continue this discussion. What community is she representing? Because I notice a lot of her videos, if you go to her TikTok, if you go to her Instagram, she points out that she is a Black queer senator. She makes sure she puts the designation of Black first. But I have some questions going into that. So let's get a little bit more into the video.
They can live a joyful life and still make a positive impact in their community. And I will not apologize for being able to do a headstand. And I will not apologize for, having enough cake to twerk. It is no shock that criticism about me enjoying my free time and using my body to express joy with a small group of friends while on the beach in a bikini that many people wear is coming on the heels of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Since the twerking video came out, there have been a subsect of racist, misogynistic people who have called me anything and everything from the N-word to fat to gorilla. Many of the negative comments I have received have been racially motivated. They have been racially disgusting. They have been comments on my body. And none of them have to do with the policy. This has been a very targeted attack on my person. And again, it is very convenient for the GOP to try to create a narrative that Black people and people of color are changing society. There is a status status quo. And just because the status quo is changing and the people who lead our country look different doesn't mean that is bad. It's just different. We need new people who are willing to shake up how we've done things, because quite frankly, how we've done things has not worked. People are divested. People don't even feel like their vote matters. People don't feel like they have an impact in their community. And I hope that more people see that you can twerk and have fun, and you can also make a tangible impact in your communities for the better.
So, really quick before you guys dive back into this, I want to point out she pointed out that she was an African American a few different times if you go through her stuff, and then even when you listen to her response. But let me read to you what she lists. So this is her twerk campaign. And this is not my words. This is don't come for me saying I'm being, misogynistic, a male putting something on there. She did twerk. So let's get out of this fallacy, right? That where we see reality and we want to lie and call it something else and get offended because somebody else says it. She's twerked on a headstand, but she's saying this is she's running her hashtag twerk4 campaign. Let me read the core tenets of her political platform. This is directly from her page. I twerk for joy, abortion justice, body autonomy, trans rights, and intersex rights. So she's twerking based off of that campaign.
So can we twerk for Jesus? I'm just asking for the saints. Just want to make sure that twerking is truly the way.
You can twerk for whatever you like. And I think twerking, to me, twerking it was a hook, right? She got us in there. We wouldn't be talking about this woman that I share a last name with, who is not invited to the cookout. Otherwise, right, we wouldn't be talking about Tierra Mack or mentioning her name or the twerk senator or any of those things had she not done this. So I get it. I get why people do what they do. I'm going to tell you, my concern is this. We have a lot of people that look like us that go out and want to call our name and represent us. But when you get to the core of them, what they are doing has nothing to do with us. She is pushing the LGBTQ and some more letters agenda. But what did she say? She was offended because she got racial comments, because she fell back on the black sword very quickly when people came from her. And that's what she wants to point out, because she feels that's what she's going to get sympathy from us over. Again, take the twerking out the window. I have more of an issue with her platform and how she's claiming black, black, black. But what I just mentioned to you guys had nothing to do with my neighborhood.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, let me get out of the way, then I'll let y'all drive. So I don't have an issue with the fact that she's married to a woman or that the woman is white. I'm married to a man and he happens to be white. But I'm still black and I'm still pro-black and going to be pro-black till I die. So that's that on that. But I think my problem was that she did use this as a popularity stunt, to get her name out. And that's what millennials do. And in some of the other videos, I thought you were going to show another one where she was speaking and she said, I'm a millennial and I'm showing people that this is a thing that we do, let me not mock her because that's rude, right? But she did say, I've struggled with the idea that in order to be respected, I have to be fully clothed and buttoned up and have to perform in a way that is inauthentic to myself. So what is it that you would like? Are we going to change the campaign headquarters to the pink? Is that what you're looking for? I get that you want to be young. I get you want to be fun. I get you want to be relatable. But it does go back to what you said as well, Theo, is who are you representing? And do you really feel when you go to bed at night that you are twerking for a cause? Is that really what you were doing?
No, I don't think it was, but I think
it was either. That was being funny. No,
I think that's a great political spin to it.
But that is not what's going on. That's an after action. Let me try and do a PR stunt. And I just say it is important when you get into certain positions that you carry yourself a certain way. That's how I feel. Period.
Okay.
Hold on, real quick.
Now,
Nika said she's a politician. You are right, Nika. She definitely did a good job of spinning that. Go ahead, Sins.
like I said, I come from Rhode Island. Now I know what she was saying confused y'all, saying she's not talking for me. She is talking for the black Rhode Islander. You know, they support that. They support what you saw. Rhode Island is its own world. They, if you watch the Rhode Island news, there's nothing positive. It's constant negativity going on in that little state. So her going up there twerking for votes, she's not going to look at it as crazy. She's like, oh my God, people from other states, they look at what I'm doing as crazy. I'm out here talking for the LGBT community out there in North Providence. I'm talking for the people out there around the college kids that goes to URI and Providence College and stuff who supporting her. And you go in these Facebook groups, they over there telling everybody, forget y'all. This is how we do. Her attitude, we not apologizing. That's a Rhode Island attitude. How she's talking, they all support that. You go in the Facebook groups, they support that. When she's talking about, oh, I'm getting all these mean things and stuff, she's talking about the Caucasian in Rhode Island who's trying to pick at her for what she's doing. I'm not saying what she's doing is right. I'm showing you this is how it is in Rhode Island. And just a little tidbit fact to make you understand how deep that's been going on in history. When it came to the Constitution, Rhode Island was the only state that didn't sign anything. They personally told them, like, we don't care. We rather get drunk. That's a historical fact. And when you get your mail in Rhode Island, it says Providence Plantations. They said they're not changing it for nothing. That lets you know what time it is out there. So you see why the attitude is so ratchet and so wretched. And she's looking at it like, all I did was twerk with my girlfriend and ask for votes. Why y'all tripping?
I'll say this. That's not just going on in Rhode Island. I know you want to put Rhode Island on your back and represent.
In terms of what? Her twerking? Like a senator twerking? I hope no other senators are twerking.
No, I'm saying as far as supporting her. There are black women all over the place that are supporting her. There's a lot of them here in Atlanta. And some of them put it out first of all, they don't have a problem with twerking. I don't have a problem with twerking personally, but when I say this statement, it seems like people get offended. We have glorified the stripper mentality. We have put in mass media the forms, the actions, the look, the body type, and the whole way to play the game of strippers as role models when it comes to our little girls. And that kind of hurts me a little bit. So this manifesting into this is not a surprise. I expect us to have a woman president one day that's twerking if she ends up being a minority.
Oh, no, I will
I
not.
expect it.
No,
I expect it.
I see it happening. I see it happening. We're going down that bad. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Name a woman that is not probably past whatever is deemed as the acceptable age that doesn't know how to twerk. I'll say that. When you can point out the women that don't twerk, I'm going to tell you, you're probably stuck once again in your own little bubble. And if you get outside of that bubble, it's people of that same age, same demographic that live in a different area that twerk just like this woman does. So again, I have no problem with twerking itself, but the root of where it comes from is my concern.
I can't do what she did. I
Ain't the average age of presidents like 60 something?
Nah, it's like 50 something, ain't it?
I can't.
Are you talking about to be
I've seen
president or
videos.
the average age of the president?
Well, yeah, you got to be 40.
Age
You have to be 40 or above. But
yeah, but they're usually in their 60s when they become president. It's
I'm
very
not
rare.
going to take anything away
That's what I
from the
thought.
young lady. She was very talented in what she did. I just think that it was misplaced. I'm not putting her down as a young black woman. I just think that we need to be honest and tell each other when we see folks doing some, baby, Auntie Shay telling you that ain't the way. I love what you're trying to do. That's just not the way, honey. Okay.
She's listening to us.
I
We're
know
not,
she-
we're
we
not
don't
the people who are behind the camera encouraging her. It's not us. And that is part of the problem. Like you said, she was real quick to wave her RBG flag, her red, black, and green. I'm a part of this community flag. Feel bad for me because they talking about me looking like a gorilla and me being
I,
black real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of the situation is, if you had those same people in your corner when you made the decision to handstand and twerk your ass in that video, excuse my language, you probably would not have posted. Ain't nothing wrong with you having
Mm-hmm.
a joyous day, enjoying your day off at the beach with friends, and even recording yourself doing something as difficult as twerking in a
and
handstand.
and
Absolutely nothing wrong
and
with that. But ma'am,
right
the
and
problem
people
is you decided to chase clout and post it. And that is grossly inappropriate. I don't care if you're queer. I don't care if you are a woman and call yourself a feminist. And to that point, I think that some black women need to realize that there's a reason why there was a break between white feminists and black womanists. They don't even call themselves feminists, they call themselves womanists for a reason, because we should not and cannot get away with doing a lot of the things that they could get away with doing. And could not, I cannot imagine that if she was not an African American woman, because white women twerk too, and some of them have gotten really good at it. But
A
I
lot of them.
bet you $1,000 to a donut that they would not allow that as they're running for senator to be posted on social media for a chance to get votes. She need to get her whole life together and maybe even some counseling.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mac.
yeah, man. No, I was just about to do a little quick comment. That how a lot of people like to play victim, right? She's talking about all those negative comments, but she's not mentioning all them good comments she got. That was all in her DM, in her emails, on her social media. You know what I'm saying? That was a nice ass handstand, man.
I just think that we have to. I think that it does bring a point, and I guess because I'm out of the loop, because I am
A non-twerker.
a different. Well, yeah, because my twerk game is. I have other talents we won't speak on. However, I think that what we're noticing is that the millennials. Let's get back on track. The millennials sometimes have this mindset that everything that I do that makes me happy, that brings me joy, has to be acceptable.
Yep.
And that's just not true. That's just not the way it goes. You cannot do any and everything you want, and everyone's going to accept that. So hopefully this was a lesson to her. She is unapologetic, but I do believe that when she gets a little bit older, she's probably gonna look back on this and be like, I probably could have done things a little bit differently. And maybe she won't.
She
But
won't.
I just feel like this is a wave. This is what we're seeing. We're seeing younger people wanting to just let their hair down all the time. And sweet babies, that's not the way it is. That's just not the way the world is. When you have a job, which a senator is a job, there's a certain way you have to act. You're not gonna come in crip walking and then do dental work on my mouth. You see what I'm saying? My dentist can't come in there with the tattoo sleeve and be like, what it do? Shoo, you ready to get this gas? No, I'm not, sir. I'm going to go somewhere else, or ma'am, whomever it may be. There's a certain decorum that you're supposed to have. So and I always speak about class. I think that it certainly was not classy at all. And we need to work on that.
We've evolved as a society. Hold on, real quick, Mac, and I'll let you get it. We've evolved as a society where you can't speak bad about women. You can't speak bad about minority women. If it's a minority male, that's a whole different subject. But you can't speak bad about minority women. You can't speak bad about women in general, and you can't speak bad about protected classes. And the LGBTQ communities have become a protected class. And I say you can't speak that. I see the facial expressions of chick that hustles. You can't because you can't, because if I say it, everyone comes for me. And if you don't want to acknowledge that that's true or not, take a look at social media. When men say things about women, a million women chime in publicly. If you're not a white male and a black male says something about women publicly, everyone comes for them very, very quickly. The cancel culture comes for men who say things about, again, women or the LGBTQ community. And I say that to say this. That's one of the reasons why millennials feel like they can do and say whatever they want to, because they're the ones that are growing up under that. If you're older than that, you may not see it because that's not what you're used to growing up with. But they literally grow up with the mentality of seeing people being canceled for making bad comments about people that look like them. Black males can't say that same thing. Hispanic males probably can't say that same thing. Hispanic females may not even be able to say it. But certainly, if you're an Asian woman, or if you're a Black woman, or certain other communities of women, or again, the LGBTQ community, there have been cancellations that occur very frequently for saying the slightest things about those groups.
Okay, that's your perception.
So here's my thing. I would say that yes, if you a Black man say something negative publicly about a Black woman, that yeah, it's gonna be a whole lot of Black women coming for you. But I think that has more to do with Black women feeling like we should have a united front than it is just about this whole cancer. Not saying that the cancer culture doesn't exist and people get canceled for some of the
It's
dumbest
real.
reasons, but I think it's in terms of Black men being able to say something about Black women, 90% of the time we like, are you really doing this? You really finna talk about us in front of them? That's what you doing? So, and I'm okay with that, because don't do me like that.
Don't twerk on a handstand and then try to get elected. Then that'll save you out of
Absolutely.
that.
Unfortunately, I was
Absolutely.
not
And
blessed with the twerking
Yeah,
and
skills.
that's not my strong suit. No,
Mm-mm.
Mother
I'm
Shade
with you,
will not
Shade
have
Queen.
me
I have
do
other
it.
talents with
now,
which we
That
will
ain't
not
it.
speak about.
all
Twerking ain't
all
one of them.
stuff aside, she has to be also conscious of the reaction. I don't see how she couldn't have known she was going to get that reaction, because if we really want to be technical, the origins of twerking was from African tribalism as a mating call. Like, they're gyrating their booty. That's supposed to be a form of from the tribals, they would do that as a dance to select their mates. Like, it's a form of, it was a special thing. And then it was taken into the Caribbean dance halls, which was then transferred to the Miami base. It's always had a sexual overtone to it. So now that people are trying to bring that out into the public, they need to be conscious that they objectifying themselves, and they can't be mad at whatever energy they bring to themselves by being sexual.
It's
So
female
it's
empowerment, though.
It's what?
That's what
yeah,
they
that's
say.
I
where
don't
that,
agree with
like,
that.
come on, yeah.
What you say?
I don't agree. I said
Sexuality seems to
female
be an
empowerment. I do
empowerment
not agree
now.
with that.
Wait, Chick that hustles, you said what now?
I said it's female empowerment, but I don't agree with that. That's
Haven't
BS.
haven't I said
I
that to
feel why
you?
you
Haven't
said
I,
it, yeah.
I was about to log off. I was like, no, ma'am. No, we
but
not.
but that's
I think because they want to be
that's what it's taken
promiscuous
as.
in peace. That's why. That's why they want to call it female empowerment, so they could be promiscuous in peace.
They want to be
No,
able to
I
hold on.
agree. I agree. It is female empowerment, empowering you to get a free drink at the club.
Listen, man. You said something similar that I've said previously. A chick that hustles. It is part of female empowerment. It is part of female liberation, but and I say that from a standpoint of the spirit to be able to do whatever you would like, right? That's the spirit of that. The problem is if it's not used responsibly. When freedom is not used responsibly, it becomes a problem. We all right now have access to the greatest amount of knowledge ever before in history in the palm of your hands every day that you send text on and you make phone calls. And yet a lot of people don't use it to educate themselves. They use it to get into more buffoonery and to get themselves in trouble. So if you do the math of how that works, right? Literally the most powerful, I got an iPhone, the most powerful piece of information gatherer in history, bigger than all the text, all the libraries. It combines those from the course of history. And what do people do with it? Pull up porn. Do the math.
Yeah, I guess I just feel that you're right. It is liberation, and I do think that young women should be walking in their truth, being their authentic selves, but that does not come without consequence.
Yep.
You can do whatever you want. I say it all the time, but that does not mean that you're going to be accepted and that it's going to be okay with everyone. And when you are doing things and you are trying to be powerful, you want your message to be heard, the delivery is very important. Okay, that's just the way it is, and so sometimes it's hit or miss. And she says she's trying to be a bold member or bold leader. Maybe this is the wave. Maybe
I will say I hope she wins. I really do.
I'm just saying, for me And for people who are like-minded, I just think that there's a better way of delivering it. But hey, girl, if by any chance you're a cousin of the Max and you're in town, holler at us in the Mac town, and let's chop it up in person. Let's just talk, or
She
maybe
got a
you teach me what to do. I don't
she
know.
got a she got a better chance to be related to Macon than to us. But let me say this. Part of our problem as a society, right, is that we have watered everything down to a popularity contest. So I get why people make these type of actions to be flamboyant and stand out. Because if she just gets out there and stands on her policies, she's gonna be just another LBGTQ representative that's gone over into government. And while that may bring some traction, that doesn't stand out in the field today because there's a million more just like her. So again, because we're all about popularity, we're about likes, views, and clicks, right? You're gonna have people that are gonna do craziness. Go ahead and check the hustles.
I will say too, she has done a good job of promoting abortion rights, because there are some people who are going to be like, "Ain't no way I'm having kids in this day and age. I'm
Yeah,
done
yeah.
already."
Yeah, no, and that's her background. I think that's how she actually got elected, working with abortion rights groups in Rhode Island and other states around the area. That was actually her platform coming in.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
she, she looked like
best of
she
luck,
ready to have
girl.
a baby.
Well, if we
Listen,
if we're twerking and we're not responsible and we're in the clubs, we might have more babies. So let's just be careful and let's be protected, everyone. I'm
there
gonna
it
say that
is.
every week. Young ladies, be protected.
That's a conversation for a whole nother show. But with that being said, man, we run over our time budget today. So we're gonna go around the horn, man, and let people get some closeout statements. Tell us what you learned, tell us what you feel. What's on your heart for today, man? Matter of fact, a chick that hustles, you popped up first. So with the facial expressions, you go ahead and start us out.
That's my thing. I cannot control my facials, no matter how hard. I don't try. I control my mouth now. And I guess those are my final thoughts. I think that we have gotten to a point in our society where we believe that it is okay to not have a filter. And I myself have learned through counseling that that is actually a function of your brain. Things should be filtered. And you twerking on the beach is probably something that you should have filtered from the public. I also want to encourage everyone to really pay attention to what your elected officials and those or candidates for office are talking about and what they're planning to do when they get into office, and then follow up to see if they've actually done it. Because, yes, it's a popularity contest. We want the person who we like to get in office, and all of us who like the same person think that person is popular and we want them in. But what are they doing for us and for our community, if anything at all? Because while baby girl was really preaching about her blackness, I again, we didn't hear her say anything that's going to impact just the black community. And that's what I'm looking for in politicians. And I hope you are doing the same.
Yeah, I'm assuming when you said just the black community, you mean an issue that's centralized to us, because I think
African Americans, yes. And
correct.
while other factions may fall under that category, I would like it to be that way instead of it being an umbrella for the other factions and we just happen to be a
Yep.
part of it.
Yep. Yep. And a lot of times that's unfortunate, right? Because she's trying to be a black woman, she's trying to be a member of that community as well. But our policies and agendas don't really get advanced. Mac, I'm gonna pull you up next. Go ahead and give us a closeout.
Yo, was she just twerking her face? She said she couldn't control it. That's what I was saying. But no, on some real, on the real, man. Listen, man. The thing, and I pretty much already knew this, man. Every action has a consequence, so we gotta be prepared for that consequence, make the right decisions, and sometimes it is just a political act, man. So you know what I mean. Believe everything you see and half of what you hear, right? And so that's what I'm gonna take away from today.
All right, all right, all right. Shade Queen, close them out with some positive inspiration as you always do.
Absolutely. So I'm going to continue to say, just piggyback off of what you guys were saying earlier. We do have to be careful and mindful of those individuals that we're voting for in our local government, and state and nationwide. So make sure you're looking out for that. To Tierra Mac, I don't know where you learn how to do that, girl. Keep doing that if you choose. But know that that will come with a consequence. And that's for all the other millennials and other young ladies out there. As a Black woman, I am very proud for those women who are paving the way for us. But I do think that we have to be cautious at all times in the way that we carry ourselves. Not saying that that means that we're selling out or we're being non-authentic or inauthentic, as she said, but we just have to be cautious because we still have a long way to go. Okay, so we're not exactly where we want to be, have a long way to go. And lastly, as far as law enforcement, again, like I said, I'm not against law enforcement, but I certainly am against a lot of these policies that are negative against people that look like me. But I do think that we can bridge that gap with transparency of our local police departments. And I do think that we need to start working closer with our young people and trying to keep them out of the jails and just trying to stay positive. Back to you.
That is. Sinister. Get the people some
Um,
words, close out.
in regards to what I saw with that Arizona video, not much has changed in terms of how they just been violating our civil rights. It just hasn't stopped. It's only just increasing. And in regards to the Tiara Mac situation, it just lets me know, me personally, how much I gotta be in my daughter's life, because it seems society is getting overly sexual. And I gotta be there to guide her through the society, could let her know that there's consequences to that type of lifestyle. I hope these females who feel that being over sexual is a form of female empowerment, these younger females are seeing this. I'm talking about as young as 5, 6, 7. We could even go as far as 4, 3, 2. This is what they seeing. So every generation is a product of how they were developed by the generation prior. So we all just need to be very conscious of what we have our babies witnessing. That's about it.
I agree. So let me say this, man. How to choose the words. Let me say this carefully. Um, what you notice from the Arizona video, right, is that our rights are still up for grabs. Whether we actually get the promise of the American dream in its totality is yet to be seen in 2022. Um, what you see in the second video is that you have a African American woman who is a member of the LGBTQ community, who is using I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out, stripper like behavior in order to increase her reach. What's the common thread, right? Both of these are part of our political system, part of our law system, part of the things that are going to affect us, even though it's in Rhode Island, even though it's in Arizona. Those don't affect me locally right here in Georgia directly today. But what I'm going to say is this: if you pay attention to history, it tells you this: what you see out of that senator will be mimicked, replicated, and pushed even further by somebody else as these years come along. So don't be surprised. She's just the first one. What you see in Arizona is something that's always been happening, trying to restrict the rights of certain class of people who want to get involved in it. And what's the common denominator? If we don't vote, we can't sit here and complain about these things. We're just being typical Black people because we're just being judgmental, right, of this law, of this person's behavior. None of that matters. None of these opinions matter unless you go out, put your actions behind it, and make a difference. So with that being said, I'm going to say it one more time. Education is key. Education is the most important thing. If we don't have people who can become, and I'm not even talking about the videos that we watched at this point. What I'm talking about is if we don't have people who can't become those smarter leaders, those smarter thought process generators, those galvanizers of crowds to get us there, then what you're going to realize is this: things that we talked about today represented and impacted Black people a lot, but you didn't hear anything that was going to help us push the Black agenda. So educate yourselves, man. Teach your kids, pass knowledge on, love each other. I'm not mad at anybody that wants to twerk or do what they got to do for some attention if they're trying to come about it to go to a bigger cause. But at the same time, realize that person I don't see my representation in. So with that being said, man, thank y'all for rocking with us again. 8 p.m. Thursdays, we come to you with the Roundtable Talk podcast. Catch us on Sunday, where at 8 p.m. where we're going to break down the Kendrick Lamar new album, doing something a little different on the Music Review Live panel. Catch us on Wednesday when we'll have another hilarious episode of the Music Trivia Night Show. So this has been your boy Theo. CC had to cut out early, but definitely check out our Model Booth Games online. Also, Google Where It Begins magazine. We'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.